Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parley.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parley. We are joined by Yancy, one of the engineers now for HMD Motorsports as we start our year partnership with them in 2020. Yancy, thanks for joining Jess and I. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I will start with the first question here, and then Jess, we can just alternate back and forth. So last year, from what I understand, you were Rinus Veekay's engineer. As he starts his rookie season in IndyCar, what can you tell us about Rinus as a person and then as a driver?
I mean, Rinus is extremely a very motivated person, I guess you could say. Very focused on his goal of winning and excelling at everything that he does. So he's just extremely motivated. As a driver, he's very, very, very talented. I think he'll do very, very well in the IndyCar series. I think the car will suit him just as the Indy Lights car and everything else that he has driven. He adapts very well to everything. So I see a lot of success for him next year.
Awesome.
So this coming season, what kind of expectations do you guys have?
We're building up the team with some very good people, and we're bringing in, very good drivers with David and Santi, and hopefully we'll sign a third at some point here. And the expectations are to do as well as we did last year, or as well as I guess I did last year, and as well as the other engineer Tim has done in the past. We come with great experience, and we want to continue and to win. So yeah, the expectations are definitely to win.
Perfect.
I like it. So on that note, you were with Juncos last year, HMD this year. What is your racing background? How'd you get started in the engineering side of things to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So when I was younger, I was always involved in racing of some sort. I raced go-karts when I was younger. I've always been involved with cars. My father runs a mechanical shop, and cars were pretty much everything that I ever knew. So I did a lot of go-kart racing, and as you get older, you want to start racing the cars, and unfortunately I never really had the budget to race cars. And so as soon as I started realizing I don't think I'm going to make it budget wise to move up, I had already started engineering school at university, and then from there I started working for race teams in the summers, and then once I graduated university, I started working full-time in racing and haven't stopped since, I guess.
Awesome. So before Juncos, which open wheel teams have you worked for?
I've worked before Juncos. I was at Andretti Autosport for 7 years, and then prior to that I had done I had raced with I had engineered for numerous teams, including Forsyth Racing, Walker Racing, Anderson Racing, number of different teams. AIM Autosport was where I started everything out. I was with them for 7 years. So great Canadian team, and I'm Canadian, so it was a great, stepping stone for jumping in there. So
awesome. Go ahead, Jess.
Well, since you've been with several teams and have quite a history, what do you think is your favorite memory in racing?
Favorite memory? When I engineered Matthew Brabham in 2013, we won 13 out of 15 races or something that year. We could do nothing wrong, and I guess that would probably be, the highlight of my career in terms of, just winning so much was just a lot of fun, So that's probably the best memory I would say.
Nice.
Speaking, you spoke about David Malukas and Santi Urrutia a couple minutes ago. You competed against them last year, and I imagine you competed against Santi over the past couple of years. What can you tell everybody out there listening about the drivers that now you're responsible for?
So, Santi is definitely he holds nothing back. He's always, 120%, especially on track during the races. He never holds back, which is great. And I think he'll continue where he left off, and hopefully have the success and go after the championship. And then David, he had a bit of an up and down season last year, and I feel like if we can keep him on the upside, I think he'll have a lot of success as well. I mean, he had some good races at Coda and Gateway last year, and I think with some more guidance and a little bit more, stability in terms of staffing and everything, I think he can be very, very good as well.
I love it.
What race are you most looking forward to this coming season?
Obviously, I always look forward to my home race in Toronto. That's where I live, and that's where I've gone to that race almost every year of my life. So that's probably the highlight. Obviously, the other race you always look forward to is the Freedom 100. It's one that I've finished second or third the last 4 or 5 years in a row here, or the last 4 years here. So it's one that I still need. I really want to win, and and I'm hoping this year will be the year.
Fingers crossed that we will see you in victory lane.
Yes, exactly.
So on kind of a similar note there, from your perspective, which track is the most difficult to set up a car for?
Most difficult. Every track has its challenge. I don't think there's one in particular. Sometimes you have, really, really good success at one, and you try to, use the same philosophy for the next track, and it doesn't work out quite as well. So it's hard to say, I guess. From the pushing the driver wise, street circuits are always a lot tougher because the driver really needs to push the limits of the walls, retaining the track. So just having a driver that's going to push that, and pushing the driver to reach those limits is probably the biggest challenge, I guess, for street circuits. So probably street circuits, I would say.
Yeah, I can see that. So I'll wrap it up here with just a few more questions. Jess, if you want to jump in, just let me know. As an engineer, what are your main responsibilities, both at the track and then in the shop when you're not at the track?
Oh, yeah. So at the track, obviously, running the sessions in terms of, time management, making sure the setup is right, and making changes to progress the car and have the driver feel, that he can give 100%. So that's at the track. At the workshop, it's all about, preparation for the upcoming event. It's all about analyzing, what was good and what was wrong with the previous event. So there's a lot of, what we call post-event analysis, and a lot of pre-event prep that goes on. So things like that. And then obviously going through what went wrong in terms of, on the car, what we can improve between events on the car is something that we always work, closely with, the team manager and the mechanics with. So, yeah.
Cool. So looking back on your long career to date, is there one kind of career highlight that you could put on your metaphorical trophy case that you look back on all the time very fondly?
I guess probably, like I said, the Matthew Brabham 2013 year where we won so many races. That's one that definitely stands out. Last year with Rinus was probably another standout year where we won a number of races. We were extremely dominant the last 2-3 races, and the championship just slipped away due to a penalty really at Road America. So things like that I guess would stand out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll wrap it up here with one more question. Again, thanks for joining us for a short HMD chat before the season starts. You've got preseason testing at Homestead soon, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're testing on February 21st at Homestead. Yeah.
Okay, so next weekend. I couldn't remember if it was before or after the IndyCar test. So when you go into a couple-day test with David, Santi, and hopefully a third driver, fingers crossed, what are your main goals? Is it getting, I believe you guys will have the frontal protection device that IndyCar had last year on the car. Is getting the drivers used to that and kind of just getting a feel for the Indy Lights car since Santi's been out of it for a little over a year now?
Yeah, so we've already done a bit of that. We tested at Sebring a couple weeks ago So we have, and we had the frontal protection on the cars. So both David and Santi got to experience that. I think it's, a test like Homestead, it's kind of a mixed bag where Homestead is viewed as both a road course and a street circuit. There's bumpiness to it, but really it's probably more of a road course. So just, I guess, implementing some of the setup items that, I've run in the past there, and combining that with what the other engineer Tim has run in the past. I think taking those two and molding them together to come up with the best setup. So I think starting with a baseline that we know, and then adding the items that we feel would be a big plus, and testing those with the drivers and trying to develop the very best setup is kind of the goal of tests like that. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Yancy, we'll let you go. Good luck in off-season testing, and we look forward to seeing you down at the track in St. Pete, and best of luck this year.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And thanks for having me.
No problem. Have a good weekend.
Thank
All right.
you.
You too. Thank you.